You're not paranoid. You're not lazy. You're not crazy. The U.S. economy is collapsing right in front of you, and the numbers don't lie. Consumer debt? Over $17.7 trillion, the highest in history. Credit card interest? Averaging 24.6%, the worst it's ever been. Home prices? Up 47% since 2020, while wages have barely moved. 1 in 3 Americans now skips meals because they can't afford groceries. And 62% of full-time workers are living paycheck to paycheck, even six-figure earners. They keep telling you everything's fine, but you can't afford eggs, rent, or health insurance. Meanwhile, CEOs made 399 times more than the average worker last year. We are not approaching collapse. We're already in it. And if you don't understand how bad it's gotten yet, you will by the time we reach reason number 1, 10. The middle class is officially an endangered species, and no one's talking about it. Let's kick things off with a brutal truth. If you think you're middle class, odds are, you're not anymore. The American middle class has been quietly gutted like a fish in the last 20 years, and now in 2025, it's basically an illusion. Back in the 1970s, 61% of Americans fell into that middle class range. Today, it's 43%, and falling fast, according to Pew Research. And when you break it down by age and race, it's even worse. Millennials? Middle-class wealth is 32% lower than boomers had at the same age. Black and Latino households? Forget it. The system was never built for equity, but now it's not even pretending anymore. A so-called middle-class family, earning $75,000 a year, used to be able to afford a home, a car, take a vacation, and save for retirement. Today, that $75,000 gets you rent in a crime-ridden zip code, a used Honda with 100,000 miles, no savings, and you better hope nobody gets sick. Real wages haven't moved in decades, but rent has doubled. Childcare costs have tripled. Food prices are up 25% just since 2020. And the sick joke is that corporations and banks keep gaslighting people with inflation is slowing while you're standing in line at Walmart trying to decide whether to put back eggs or toilet paper. The middle class is collapsing because the American dream was sold to Wall Street. And the saddest part? Most Americans are still being told it's their fault, that they didn't hustle enough, that they just need to budget better. You can't budget your way out of a rigged economy. The foundation has rotted, and they're still trying to rent it out for $3,000 a month. 9. Your paycheck is shrinking. But the price of survival isn't this. One hits you in the face every 2 weeks. You check your paycheck, and then you check your grocery bill, and it's like they're in different universes. Here's the ugly truth. From 2021 to 2025, wages have gone up around 4.5% annually. But inflation? It peaked at over 9% in 2022 and still hovers around 3.5% in 2025. You're making more, but in reality, your dollar buys less than it did 5 years ago. And that difference? That's not just economic theory. That's your rent, your food, your gas. The number of full-time workers living paycheck to paycheck is now over 62%, according to Lending Club. That's not just service workers anymore. That includes doctors, engineers, teachers, and federal employees. And the thing is, wages haven't just stagnated. They've decoupled from productivity. Since 1979, productivity rose 64%, but hourly compensation? Only 17%. Who pocketed the rest? The top 1%, who now own more than 50% of all U.S. stocks. Meanwhile, health insurance premiums are averaging $24,000 a year for a family plan. Just the premium. And don't forget the $8,000 deductible you have to meet before coverage even kicks in. Childcare? $16,000 per year for one infant. In 1985, it was $1,000. It's not that Americans aren't working hard. It's that the game is rigged harder than ever. You're fighting to stay afloat in a current that's designed to drown you. And it's not by accident, it's by policy. 8. Debt is the new normal. And it's going to devour the next generation. Let's talk about the debt bomb. And I'm not just talking about the government's $34 trillion pile. I'm talking about your debt, my debt, your neighbor's debt, and your kid's debt. Household debt in the U.S. just smashed through a record $17.7 trillion, with credit card balances alone soaring past $1.3 trillion, the highest ever recorded. Why? Because basic survival groceries, rent, gas, is no longer affordable on income alone. And guess what? The average credit card interest rate is now 24%. That's loan shark territory. Most people don't even know this, but the Fed raised interest rates at the fastest pace in U.S. history between 2022 and 2023. And they haven't really come back down. So every borrowed dollar is now eating you alive. Student loans? The average borrower owes over $39,000. Car loans? The average monthly payment for a new vehicle is now $762, with some stretching to 84 months. That's 7 years of car payments. And the younger generation? Gen Z is being crushed before they even start. They've inherited a broken job market, astronomical tuition costs, no hope of buying a house, and the privilege of paying off their parents' economic mistakes through future taxes and inflated rent. This isn't financial literacy, it's financial hostage-taking. America has replaced upward mobility with revolving credit. And when those interest payments come due, the next crash won't be optional. It'll be engineered. 7. Home ownership is now just a luxury for the rich and foreign investors. You've probably seen the memes, millennials buying houses with monopoly money, or just skip the avocado toast and you'll be fine. But here's the reality in 2025. Homeownership is becoming a statistical impossibility for most working Americans. The median home price in the U.S. is now over $430,000, while the average household income remains under $75,000. And with mortgage rates hovering between 7% and 8%, the monthly cost of buying a home is up 60% from just 5 years ago. In fact, home affordability is at its worst level in history, according to Atom Data Solutions. The mortgage-to-income ratio is so high, it's outpacing even the 2007 bubble. And what's driving prices up even more? Private equity and foreign investors buying entire neighborhoods and turning them into rentals. BlackRock, Invitation Homes, and firms you've never heard of are bidding against you in all-cash offers, and they never lose. They don't care about schools or community. They care about yield. You're left competing with hedge funds and TikTok landlords for a roach-filled 3-bedroom that rents for $3,200 a month. Meanwhile, property taxes have doubled in cities like Austin, Chicago, and Phoenix. Homeownership used to be the cornerstone of American stability. Now it's a wealth extraction mechanism that locks you out permanently, unless your parents already owned a home and can gift you the down payment. The real estate ladder is broken, and there's no rescue coming. 6. America is quietly becoming a nation of rent serfs. Let's go deeper, because it's not just that people can't buy homes anymore, it's that the rental market has become an unregulated blood sport. Rents are rising so fast that even the landlords can't keep up. As of 2025, the national median rent is hovering around $2,050 a month, according to Rent.com. That's up nearly 30% from 2020. In places like Denver, Tampa, and Charlotte, rents are up over 50%. And it's not just coastal cities anymore. Rural America is feeling it too, because remote workers priced out of cities are invading smaller towns and driving up prices everywhere. People are paying more to rent than they would to own if they could even get approved. But they can't, because debt-to-income ratios are too high. So they're stuck, locked in, living paycheck to paycheck in overpriced apartments with zero equity, zero stability, and no chance of generational wealth. Meanwhile, 1 in 3 renters spends over 50% of their income on rent. That's what the government calls severely rent-burdened. You know what I call it? Modern feudalism. You work all day, and half your money goes straight to your landlord, who might be a bank, a hedge fund, or a retiree with 5 properties. Either way, you're the serf. And there's no escape hatch. Because the second you miss one rent check, your life explodes. Late fees, eviction, destroyed credit, maybe even homelessness. In America, we don't need debtors' prisons anymore. We just let the market handle it. 5. Corporate America has quietly replaced the government. Let's stop pretending the U.S. government is still running the show, because if you peel back even one layer, you'll see that corporations now write the rules, decide who eats, who works, who gets healthcare, and who gets crushed. And don't take my word for it. In 2024 alone, lobbying spending in Washington hit a record-breaking $4.4 billion, with pharmaceutical companies, tech giants, Wall Street, and weapons manufacturers buying policy in bulk. Pfizer, Meta, Google, Lockheed Martin, they're not just influencing politics, they're directing it. Every year, corporations write thousands of bills that get passed by Congress without a second glance. You think lawmakers are debating how to fix rent? Nope. They're debating how to let hedge funds buy more homes and keep you locked in as a renter. They've killed antitrust enforcement. They've erased consumer protections. And they've made damn sure your student loans are exempt from bankruptcy. Meanwhile, 93% of all food brands are owned by just 10 corporations. 4 companies control 85% of the beef market. Just 3 health insurers cover half the country. What does that mean? It means they can charge you anything. Do anything. Deny you coverage, jack up your premiums, shrink product sizes, lay off workers, and there's no competition, no accountability. You're not a customer, you're a captive audience. And here's the scariest part, they're automating everything. Amazon and Walmart are replacing cashiers with AI and asking you to scan your own items while they pocket $13 billion in profit. No benefits, no job security, just a smiling app interface and a corporate press release about efficiency. The government? They'll tweet something and move on. Because they no longer govern. They just manage collapse. While CEOs collect record compensation packages, averaging $16.7 million per year, half of all Americans can't cover a $400 emergency. We're not in a democracy. We're in a shareholder oligarchy. And if you're not in the 1%, you're the product being sold. 4. Infrastructure is decaying faster than the system can hide it. This isn't just a pothole problem. America's entire foundation, the roads, the water pipes, the power grid, the schools, the railways, is rotting in plain sight, and nobody in charge seems to care. The American Society of Civil Engineers gave the U.S. a C grade on infrastructure in its 2025 report, and that's generous. 45,000 bridges are rated structurally deficient. Over 2,100 dams are high hazard and aging past their design life. You want clean water? Good luck. Lead contamination is still a crisis in places like Jackson, Mississippi and Flint, Michigan, and over 6 million lead service lines still haven't been replaced. And then there's the power grid, cobbled together with duct tape and prayer. Texas froze to death in 2021. California's rolling blackouts are practically seasonal now. And guess what? Cybersecurity experts are warning that the grid is ripe for attack. One hack, one EMP, one software glitch, and large portions of the country could be plunged into chaos. But let's talk about transportation. The average American commuter wastes 54 hours a year stuck in traffic, costing the economy $179 billion annually in lost productivity. Our public transit systems? Dilapidated and underfunded. In 2023, the New York City subway system required $100 billion in repairs and modernization, and it's still running on technology from the 1930s. Meanwhile, China built 26,000 miles of high-speed rail. We can't even fix the Amtrak schedule. And schools? Half of all public schools are more than 50 years old, with asbestos in the walls and mold in the ceilings. There's no Wi-Fi, no air conditioning, but plenty of broken promises. We send $113 billion to Ukraine, but can't repair our own water systems. Why? Because collapse isn't accidental. It's profitable to the people who sell the fixes, and those fixes never reach the people who need them most. 3. The mental health crisis is a byproduct of economic war. What if I told you America's mental health crisis wasn't just a side effect but a feature of a collapsing economy? Depression, anxiety, addiction, they are skyrocketing, and the reason isn't just TikTok or Instagram. It's economic despair. A 2024 CDC report found that 1 in 3 adults now struggles with symptoms of anxiety or depression. Suicides are at a 40-year high. ER visits for teenage girls dealing with self-harm are up 187% since 2010. And behind every one of those numbers is someone crushed by a system that never lets up. You work 2 jobs, still can't afford rent, your insurance barely covers therapy, and you're expected to keep smiling. But let's go deeper. There's now something called eco-anxiety and financial PTSD. These aren't buzzwords, they're clinical realities. People wake up in panic over utility bills. Parents lose sleep over whether they can afford insulin. Gen Z? They've already accepted they'll never own homes or retire. The stress is generational. And when you do seek help, you're funneled into a broken mental health system where most therapists don't take insurance. Appointments are 3 months out, and 1 hour costs more than your weekly grocery budget. The U.S. spends more on mental health pharmaceuticals than any country in the world, yet outcomes are worsening. Why? Because we treat symptoms, not causes. And the cause is economic trauma. It's living in a country where rest is a luxury, joy is expensive, and everyone around you is pretending to be okay. The mental health crisis isn't about serotonin. It's about survival, and millions are losing that battle silently. 2. America's war on the poor is now out in the open. It's not even subtle anymore. Being poor in America isn't just hard, it's a punishable offense. Miss one rent payment? Evicted. Park in the wrong spot while living in your car? Ticketed. Can't afford health care? Die slower. Poverty isn't just a condition in America, it's a crime. Nearly 60% of U.S. counties have no homeless shelters at all. In major cities like Los Angeles and Phoenix, encampments are bulldozed weekly. People's tents, clothes, IDs destroyed by city workers. Meanwhile, they pass anti-camping laws so sleeping outside is illegal. In 2024, Missouri passed a law making it a felony to camp on public land. Think about that. The crime isn't being homeless, it's being visible. And guess what? Most poor people have jobs. Over 70% of people receiving food assistance are employed. But wages are so low, even full-time workers can't survive. Walmart employees need SNAP benefits to eat. Amazon drivers pee in bottles. Yet their employers post record profits and get tax breaks, while the people doing the labor get means-tested into humiliation. Can't afford school lunch? You're in lunch debt. Need help with childcare? Good luck navigating bureaucratic hell just to get $300 a month, while billionaires write off their private jets. And let's not forget how race plays into all this. Black and Latino families are twice as likely to live in poverty and face more evictions, more wage theft, and more police harassment. Poverty isn't accidental, it's policy, and it's working exactly as designed. 1. Collapse isn't coming, it's already here. You just don't recognize it yet. Here's the hardest pill to swallow. We're not waiting for collapse, we're living it. But it doesn't look like we thought it would. There's no giant explosion, no zombie horde. It's slower, more suffocating. It looks like $8 eggs, like people dying waiting for insulin, like families living in their cars while luxury condos sit empty, like 500,000 Americans sleeping on the streets in the richest country on earth. It's a million tiny cuts that don't bleed right away. And most people, they're too exhausted to notice. They're too busy working 60-hour weeks to chase bills that rise faster than paychecks. They're scrolling through Instagram while their cities crumble beneath them. This is slow collapse. A disintegration of everything we were told made America great. Upward mobility, home ownership, public schools, affordable healthcare, a livable retirement. Gone. All of it. Replaced by student debt, rent slavery, fake side hustles, and an economy that only functions when you're in debt and afraid. And the sickest part? We're still being told this is fine. Politicians smile through speeches about job creation while AI is eating entire industries. The media parrots the economy is strong, while 1 in 4 Americans skips meals to save money. They're not lying because they don't know. They're lying because they do know, and they benefit from your confusion. Collapse isn't loud, it's quiet, it's incremental, but it's happening, right now. And if you don't see it yet, it's probably because you're surviving it in real time.